Hello and welcome to Akashic Knowing TV. I am Lisa Barnett and I'm the founder of Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom. It's great to have you here with me again today. And we are talking all about the Akashic Records and about your soul's plan and all that is involved in your soul's plan, such as soul contracts, karma, past life gifts and talents, trauma, all sorts of pieces that come into play. So last time we did some energy healing, Akashic record healing, and soul retrieval around rebalancing masculine and feminine energy. It's a very big contract, soul contract on the planet today. And what I mean by that is that there are very many of the spiritual souls who are here trying to help shift humanity into a higher place. And so we have some big group contracts. One of them is to help elevate the divine feminine energy so that we can again be a balanced world with feminine, the divine feminine, raising back up, and the masculine coming to meet it. So we're a balanced society, a balanced world. So today I wanted to do more work around soul contracts. So many of us have challenging relationships that we can't seem to fix. Sometimes we wonder why we were born into the family we were born into, or if our soul contracts are complete with our partners, or what about a business partner? Do I have a soul contract to have a supportive business partner? So before we come to Earth, and I talked a little briefly about this already, but before we come to Earth, we write about 25 to 50 soul contracts with people. And some of them are about support, and some of them are about learning and growing. And so those I'm going to say, I'm like, are there other aspects? You know, we're so complicated. Of course, there's many aspects, but those are those big aspects when we think about it or really look at it. So I often say one of the best types of contracts to have with a significant partner is a soul contract of support. And that means that you're here to support each other no matter what. And they actually write those into marriage vows, which I think is fascinating. Vows are also a whole nother piece I haven't talked much about. I touch on it here and there. And so let's just talk a little bit about marriage vows. When they wrote the marriage vows, I always think it was wonderful because they said, until death do us part. We do not want to make a vow to love someone forever, because forever is a very long time. And that means that they may be coming back into your life again and again and again, even when you don't write a soul contract with them. And part of this is a vow, which is this overreaching energy. I vow to love you forever. And so if I meet you in a lifetime where I may not have a soul contract with you at all, maybe I'm even happily married or happily in a committed relationship, and all of a sudden, you know, you're thinking about going off and having an affair with this person because you remember them. They touch your heart. You vowed once. It might have been, you know, 1,000 years ago, but you vowed to love them forever. So I like to clear those vows, and we can in the Akashic Records. One of the great gifts of working in the Akashic Records is that we can clear and release old vows that are stuck in another time or stuck kind of outside of time and space. So again, one of the great gifts, one of the things that I love to do for my clients when I do Akashic Record healing reading sessions is to clear those vows, to clear old contracts, because we can move outside of time and space, back and forth. And I teach this to my students because it's such an important aspect of being able to heal in your own Akashic records. So many people have challenging relationships with their family of origin, or, you know, with the family that they grew up with. And I know I often will talk about how this is really about our soul learning and growing. And sometimes it's, you know, kind of a minor challenge. Maybe your parents had money issues. Maybe they really felt like you had to work really, really, really hard just to survive. And they would tell you that, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, and that you're, you know, you don't deserve that. And so here you are as an adult with money issues, with money blocks. And so, of course, we think like, why would I pick a family where I would learn these sorts of things? But again, a lot of what we're here to learn is something that on one level we know it, right? When we're not embodied, we get it. But it's a very different thing to experience it and literally be able to embody it in our physical form, to be able to share the information and the gifts, to be able to understand the expansiveness of something like abundance. Because when we talk about abundance, it's not just about money. When we can start to shift the energy around abundance, we're literally shifting it around an abundance of health, an abundance of friends, abundance of love, abundance of joy, really, and of course an abundance of money also, but abundance is a bigger energy. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. And another time, I want to really talk more about the soul, the family of origin now. And so why do we pick these people? Well, one of the reasons we pick them is because we get to learn from them. Another reason we pick them is because they're great triggers for us. Now, who wants a trigger, right? That doesn't make for an easy life. But if you look at it again with the soul's higher intention of learning and growing and sharing those gifts, then you want to be triggered. I want to learn about abundance. I want to learn about money. I want to learn and understand how come my family thinks that money is bad or money is dirty. You know, sometimes people talk about, you know, the rich people, you know, they have to come by that money illegally, right? Like there's something tainted or dirty about money. The only people who are rich are, you know, people who come by it. They, you know, they're robbers, they're thieves, they're mafia, they're drug dealers. You know, it's like all of the dark energy. So there's a lot of weighty dark energy that's attached to money. And when our parents are believing that and sharing that with us, there's a huge lesson for us to learn there. So, of course, because I love to heal things, I'm sure I'll do quite a few whole sessions on abundance of all kinds, because I've done 4, 5, 6 hours worth of healing, worth of group healing for people around abundance. So we'll definitely delve more into that. But I would love to just right now call in the record keepers. We invite the beings of light to encircle us in the Akashic light and energy of love. And if you choose to receive the healing, all you have to do is think yes and let yourself deepen into this kind of column of Akashic energy and pure unconditional love. And we ask the record keepers to uplift and bring to completion these heavy, darker, negative energies that we've learned from our family of origin or the people we've grown up with. Maybe we were adopted, or maybe we have a stepfather or a stepmother, whatever that configuration might be for you. We'll just kind of go back into our childhood energy and release the negative beliefs around money that we've picked up consciously and unconsciously. So we want to clear it out of the unconscious levels and layers as well as the conscious levels and layers. Just kind of lighten up, since money was coming up today, kind of lighten that up for you. That's always great. And like I say, we'll do more later. But I want to also lighten up what we're really talking about is our family, the folks that we grew up with, those people that we grew up with. So what I really want to work on is clearing and releasing any of the energies that either we don't belong in this family. I know a lot of people have that experience, like either your family makes you feel like you're an alien, or you feel like you were born into a family of aliens, right? Like, I'm totally different than my whole family. And sometimes we have a sibling who's kind of in there with us, but you know, often it's like us against the world, right? So when we grow up that way, even if it's just us and our parents, or us and one or two other siblings, and we feel, it makes us feel like we're weird or we're strange. And now we go into that place of hiding and not being able to speak our truth, or we might get criticized for what we think or what we say. And this can affect us in a lot of different ways also. So if you're a child and you're very sensitive and you talk about the energy you feel, or maybe you see angels, or I used to see dead people. I think it was just my grandfather, but so like I saw tons of them, but it was scary. And I was lucky because my mother said, "Oh, that's just my father watching over you." My grandfather died when I was about 3. So I was probably in those years, you know, when you're still pretty open, 3, 4, 5. And of course it was, you know, terrifying to a little kid, but my mother was really kind of brilliant, even though she professed to not believe in other things. She kind of professed to be very scientific, kind of linear in that way, like ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But I don't actually believe she believed it herself, right? So she would say something to me like, "It's just my father. Tell him he's scaring you and ask him to please go away." And I did, and he did. So I was very blessed to, you know, kind of have that kind of experience. But I would, you know, say that probably most people didn't have that experience. They probably had the experience where they were criticized, or somebody told them that that was ridiculous if you're seeing angels, or there might even have been a sibling who just said, "That's stupid, you're stupid," right? And so we just kind of shrivel up and think, "Ooh, I don't want them to think I'm stupid, so I'll just, you know, not say anything about that ever again." And we close those gifts down. So for many of us, our family really kind of pushed us into more closing down instead of opening up. Now, we sometimes were born into families that have gifts also. And, you know, we pick those families because they had psychic gifts, and because they were clairaudient or clairvoyant, because they were sensitives. we sometimes picked a family where, you know, it might have been the aunt or somebody in the family. It might have been the grandmother or the mother, right? Who was a channel, who could see, and who, you know, freely spoke about their gifts. And though I find that's more rare than what most of us experienced, sometimes we pick those kind of families because we really wanted to use our gifts. And so sometimes we picked other types of families because there's that energy in the family, even if the people, our parents or our grandparents, are not aware of it. So we might have a very psychic family. We don't know it and they don't know it. So it's kind of interesting to look back at the family lineage, that genetic lineage, when we look at our families. And so for me, it was pretty interesting because my father's family were Cohens, which were the spiritual leaders in the Hebrew tradition. So I was actually born into a family of Cohens, of spiritual leaders and teachers. It would make sense that I would, as a soul, pick that family. Now, kind of the interesting aside is that I was not raised with that name because the family, back when my father was still a teenager, changed their name from Cohen because they had a dress store and people were still very anti-Semitic. This was back in the 40s, 30s, maybe even 30s and 40s. People were anti-Semitic. So they changed their name from Cohen. But it still is the family lineage. The energy is still there. I had an aunt who was very psychic and very awake. And so we often pick these families. And it's a great thing to look for through your Akashic record, to be able to understand and ask those kind of questions. Do I have a family lineage? Do I have gifts, psychic gifts and abilities that's really coming down through my ancestral lineage, back down through my genetics, my DNA even? So it's great to know that and to clear what's not that too, right? And to be able to reclaim that energy and bring that more fully present into our lives. So let's do a little process around that. That feels like something that would be really fun for everybody to do today. So we ask the mother, we ask the Akashic Lords to help us, to surround us, to bring us present in this moment while we ask them to help us to understand, to know about, and to reclaim any gifts and talents that come down through our family lineage. So first, we're just going to clear any old energy of fear or shame or trauma or drama that has been in the family lineage around being intuitive or psychic or clairvoyant or precognitive. Any of those kinds of things where we as children or our parents, our mothers or fathers or grandparents, have closed those gifts down because either they were dangerous, which is often the case, or they were scary, which is also not so uncommon, right? So as we clear any of that fear of being hurt or harmed from our gifts, and we want to clear any fear or trauma that comes from possibly either seeing people who have already crossed over, or angelic beings, or seeing anything else that we might have seen. Some of us are have a lot of fairy or elemental in our soul lineage, and so we may even see the fairies or the elementals. And so that could also be a little strange when we're children, or we say, oh, I'm going out in the yard to play with my fairy friends, and our mothers say, what, are you crazy? That's, or, you know, or somebody's like, you know. So clearing all that, releasing any of that naysaying that we've picked up through time from our parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts and uncles, whoever it might have been. We just want to clear and release all of that through all time space continuum. And we want to invite in the highest gifts of psychic abilities, of the sixth sense, of clairvoyance, clairaudience, telepathics, clairsentience, claircognizance, all of these beautiful gifts. We want to bring them in and download them down into our physical bodies right here and right now. We invite them to integrate into the body with ease and grace. All the way down, again, into our heads, into our hearts, on a cellular level, all the way down. I like to ground it in by bringing it all the way down into our legs and our feet. And I like to run some nice roots from our feet down into the earth. And we ask Mother Earth, we ask Gaia to help us to ground these gifts and talents down into our body and also keep us grounded as we do this sort of expansive highlight work. I often say when I open the records, please help us to be grounded and present as we do this expansive work today, because it's good to know that when we are embodied and grounded and all the way down, not just down to our heart, but down into our third chakra, second chakra, first chakra, grounded down into our legs, connected to Gaia beneath our feet, it is much easier to create and manifest in this body, in this earthly plane that we're living in. This is one of the things we've come to really learn and embrace, is creating. As humans, we can create really easily when we're in the etheric realm. Not so easy, not so fast in the past, in this earthly plane. So we are shifting that. We are becoming master creators. We are learning to really embody in the body that we have now, right here in this present time, so that we can create and manifest our heart's desire through this body. So there are many, many tools and gifts that the record keepers give us around this. And one of the things they often talk about is your tripod grounding system. So again, just filling yourself with your highest soul energy, pulling that soul all the way down into the body, down, filling the torso, coming down into the legs, all the way down into our feet, and growing nice roots out, down, 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 3-4 feet, and let those spread out like they would if you were a big tree, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet out. Nice root system. And then the third leg of the tripod is a nice grounding cord or tail from the base of the spine, the back of the first chakra, big, wide, kind of almost as wide as your hips. Not just a little cord, but a big one. Big round cord straight to the core of the earth. And we ask Mother Earth, we ask our Gaia for her help in staying grounded and present so that we can create and manifest on this earth plane. So just moving into your third chakra, your solar plexus. Dropping down into that space. This is really a powerful creative center between that and our heart. Let's bring the heart, third chakra energy together as we ask our record keepers to help us to embody our psychic gifts in our life now. So we've brought them down our ancestral timeline. We've cleared some of the old fears that blocked us. We're embodying these gifts and talents that have been in our family back through history. We all have some. And now we want to really activate that energy down into our heart and our third chakra with the intention that we are bringing these intuitive gifts, these psychic gifts, these gifts of clairvoyance, clairaudience, clear sight, clear knowing, bringing that out into the world. So we ask our record keepers to help us to activate this energy and to expand it out. Wherever you are, in your house, in your apartment, expand it out around the city or town, out around the state or the country. Keep expanding it out, so it reaches out further, that you have this expansive energy of your gifts that you've come to share with the world. So if you've come to be a healer, you've come to be a clairvoyant, intuitive healer, and you want to share those gifts, this is a beautiful process for you. And if you're not interested in being that for your work, that's fine. We can just keep the energy we've embodied, those gifts fully down into the body. We ask the record keepers to help us to continue to integrate our sixth sense gifts and talents into our body, opening our third eye further, opening our clairaudient channels, opening our telepathic channels. They're all kind of around the eyes. Being able to speak our truth, opening and clearing our fifth chakra so that we can communicate with ease and grace. Opening our heart to share our gifts and our wisdom. And opening our third chakra to be able to bring that out in the highest and best creative way for us to share our gifts and talents. So just let yourself breathe into that. Let that ground into your body. Beautiful. Feels glorious. It feels kind of like a warm swirling bath is how I'm noticing it. And however you notice it is, of course, just perfect. So of course we thank the masters, the teachers, the beings of light of our Akashic Records for the assistance in clearing and releasing some old beliefs and fears, reclaiming our ancestral energy connected to our gifts and talents around being more clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudient, intuitive. And we thank them and we close and lock our records for now. And so it is. Blessed be. Lovely. Well, thank you for joining me today for this little bit of doing some family soul contract work, doing a little bit of work around our families and reclaiming some of our ancestral information. So if you're interested in reading more, I talk quite a bit about this in my book, From Questioning to Knowing, with 73 prayers to transform your life. And the other book, The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. So they're both available on Amazon. You can find more about it, of course, on my website at AkashicKnowing.com. You can find out about getting an Akashic reading and healing session with me or my gifts. You can always go there and sign up for my newsletter and receive a free meditation. So please join me over at AkashicKnowing.com, and I look forward to seeing you soon on Akashic Knowing TV. Bye for now.